we can compress the construction work into a bigger schedule that will mitigate that, but right now it's looking like a 2 or 3 month closure of the street, which has certainly impacted. But we looked at doing that. Well, could you start this project like in August or September? But then you haven't got time to finish it. Then we're going to be here next year talking about it next year. So at one point we reached this, say like, let's just do it. Let's just get it done, get it over with. We are trying to mitigate that and try to reduce the time, and still once we meet the contractor and try to fine tune that a bit to reduce that time as much as possible. Yes. And you want to talk with the grant?
I think we're good. I think we'd like to open it up for questions and have time for questions before.
Have any questions or comments or? Oh, sorry.
And so if you weren't going to postpone it till sometime like August, when exactly would you be starting in the road closures and construction?
Well, right now we're targeting, we're starting construction in May, which is
So-
now less than a month possibly. Again, we contract today. I'd like to find out what he could accomplish by the 1st of July. If we can actually get enough work done, say the 1st of July, so that we can do, say, a 1-lane thingy with the traffic lights on either end. That's a possibility. We're gonna look at, talk to the contractor. But still, that whole construction timeline is still a work in progress, and we should have better feel for that over the next week or two.
Yeah, and
Thank you.
just to say, this meeting was really precipitated. We met with Dan and Parker and really started talking about the road closure and how important that is to communicate to businesses because of tourism, right? And that actually precipitated this, meeting. And the steps are, we have the plan, you saw that. We're meeting with the contractor to determine the minimum amount of time we can close the road and when. Then we have to submit that to TIR. And they will then approve or not approve that plan. So we will communicate with the village, the county, the residents as we go along, but the decisions have not been made for when it will be closed and for how long.
Lauren?
Great presentation. And I noticed the water feature with the stairs going into the water, very similar to Halifax, which is excellent for tourism. They love that kind of stuff. Is there any homes along that stretch that would need to worry about where they're going to be parking? I'm not overly familiar
No.
if there's, so you're
We're
okay.
going to say no.
Okay, fantastic. And I agree, there's no probably perfect time to start except as soon as you can.
I mean, July 1st till July 15th is kind of like busiest window kind of thing. But, we're going to see.
We originally wanted to avoid working in the summer and our plans were always to either work before or after. But when we added the culvert and the water main, which made sense, we really have to work through the summer.
Any other questions or comments? We'll take your ask about the tipping fee to our budget talks, and we'll get back to you about that.
All right.
Okay, thank you. We're going to take a quick recess. Our lunch is here. How long? 10, 15 minutes. So it's. So
Always.
we'll go to recess now. Okay, welcome back. We're going to start with district highlights. So we'll start here with Councillor Hennick.
Thank you, Warden. My District 8 highlights, there will be a health fair, April 30th, from 1 to 4 at the Bay St. Lawrence Fire Hall. All is welcome. I donated from my budget to be a gold sponsor of this wonderful event put on by the Bay St. Lawrence Community Center. So if you're in the area, please come out. And I heard there's over 20 health vendors that are going to be there. So should be a good and interesting afternoon. Also, I received complaints about the roads in Mee Cove. A resident would like to have a letter of support from the county or myself to give or send to the province. She's already been in contact with Diane Timmons, and the community is looking to start a petition, and they had several photos put on social media of the conditions of the roads. I would also like to give an update on the Bay St. Lawrence Community Center. They had electrical fire back in January, in which smoke damage went through the building. It's still closed at the present time, and they're still dealing with the insurance company. Warden Oregon and Councillor Donovan and I went to the center. And we're waiting to hear back from them about the quotes for cleaning. But at the present time, they did receive the quote, and I would like to make a motion to give the Bay St. Lawrence Community Center $26,984.21 that they need for the cleaning costs. As we know, we need this center up and running on conditions that we get pending the timelines and deadline for them to when they'll be opening once the cleaning and the painting is complete.
There's a motion on the table. Do I have a seconder?
Second.
Seconded by Deputy Warden. Any questions or comment? Question.
I have a comment. So we also talked about that at their special council meeting. Because there was a motion in relation to that. Are we rescinding that motion and this is going forward instead? Or is this on top of what we had already agreed that we were going to fund?
I'd say this is a new motion because hopefully once the cleaning is done, they only have to clean and paint, and then the center will hopefully be able to reopen.
Right, so we had allocated though an amount pending discussions down there.
Yes.
So this is the amount as an update, I'm
Yeah.
assuming?
Yes. Thank you.
Everything clear as mud?
No, we're just clarifying. We'll work out the words on it. Discussion?
Discussion?
Just from that amount that we approve, you're going to discount this amount? No, this
So
will be.
this is going to be the amount.
Oh, that's the amount after.
There's some new information that they've received and
Okay,
discussed.
so that's the only thing they need.
This is the amount.
Okay, thanks. Yeah. I will.
Thank you.
Okay, wait. There's a motion on the floor. All in favor? Against? Motion carried.
Thank you. I also like to make a motion that the street light be moved from 77 Fraser Road in Bay St. Lawrence. It's been on a pole where there hasn't any power source going to it, and I was asked from a local resident to move it basically across the road to where there is a power source.
Motion on the table. Do I have a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Matheson Lafort. All in favor? Against? Motion carried.
Thank you. I will be supporting our community cleanup activities with garbage bags, gloves, which is provided by the county, and also some supplies of barbecue supplies for a barbecue. So I just wanted to let the district know that I was spending that money for cleanup. Other than that, that's it for my district.
Thank you. Counselor Donovan?
Thank you, Warden. Few good news items. There will be a new food service catering establishment opening in Ingonish in the very near future. I believe they're named 285 Takeout. And their intention is to stay open year round and provide the service year round, which is very welcome in the area. There was an event this weekend past, the snowmobile races at Cape Smoky Ski Lodge. They were very loud. I live directly across the harbor from them, and it echoes well. The event went very well. They did have some issues with the last event of the same last year, but this year it went very well. They went off without a hitch, and so congratulations to them for having a successful event this year. I have been in contact with Percy Rasmussen at the Smoky Recreation Society to just kind of stay in touch with regards to the continued renovations for the daycare center. They do have the heat pump systems put in, and Percy's been told that their timeline is to be completed by August, so that it could be open anytime thereafter. And that's about it for me.
Counselor Donovan? Counselor Patterson?
Thank you, Warden. Just a couple of things. I've been receiving a number of complaints about the New Campbellton Road. And former MLA Bain and present MLA Timmins know all about it too. I gave Mr. McDonald a warning earlier. I'm going to declare it, by whatever power is vested in me, the worst gravel road in the county. But anyway, that's arguably. So we'll discuss that when the minister arrives. Secondly, Chris Woodford was in District 5 a while back with his program on Life School, I believe it is. In the end, am I correct in that name? Life School, Chris has that program. Life School, yeah. And it was a small group, but Chris was very passionate about it, and hopefully it will continue on. And finally, this didn't take place in District 5, but it involved people from District 5. It actually took place in Millville a month or so ago. Testimonial, I guess, for the Honorable Keith Bain. As I say to many people, or not many people, to some people, I've known Keith all my life, and we have things in common. Councillor Bourne was there, the warden was there. It was a great evening, and I'd just like to publicly acknowledge Keith's contribution to the community, starting with the school board, and then his years as MLA and his time as speaker. And I never did check this out, historically fact or not, but I believe that Keith was probably the first speaker from Bullitt Island. I don't think there were any other MLAs who became speaker from Bullitt. So Keith, again, congratulations for your years. Diane, all the best in your endeavors. And we're just waiting for spring to arrive, I guess. And hopefully we won't have too many grass fires. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor Patterson. Since the minister and MLA have come in, we are going to start with that meeting. We're going to put this one on hold. I don't think we need to adjourn or anything like that. We'll just. Okay. We'll table this meeting until after the next meeting. And we need a motion, I guess. Should we get a motion for that then? It's moved by Councillor Patterson. Can I get a second to table the meeting? Second by Councillor Matheson Lafort. All in favor? Aye. Motion carried. Good afternoon. Mr. Tilly and MLA Timmons and Steve McDonald. Okay, can you come to the table here? Make sure when you talk, the microphone will ring the button. I didn't have mine on, I'm sorry. But anyways, we will introduce ourselves and then you guys can introduce yourself. We'll start here.
Good afternoon. My name is Donna Matheson Lafort, and I'm the counselor for District 1. Welcome today.
Perla McLeod, Councilor District 2, Deputy Warden. My district will be Big Bedag, Middle River, Nyanza, and Yankee Line. Welcome.
Welcome. My name is Rosella Bourne. I'm in District 4, and I have one of the largest districts in Victoria County, and it would include Bedeck Bay Road, Big Harbor, South Haven, Englishtown, to the top of Kelly's Mountain, St. Anne's, and to the base of Smoky.
Thank you. Good afternoon. We'll call you Fred. We're on a first name basis here, I think. Welcome. I'm Fraser Patterson. I'm the counselor for District 5, which is basically the other side of Kelly's Mountain, not including CBRN, just the Victoria County part.
Good afternoon. I'm Tim Donovan, counselor for District 6, which is basically from base of Smoky to North Ingonish. Thank you.
Welcome. My name is Wanda Hennick and I'm in District 8. I mean, from the garage in Dingwall right up to Capstick and into Miko, as Diane knows. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. I've known Mr. Tilly a long time here. Jackie Organ. I am the counselor from North Ingonish right down to Dingwall. Welcome. You want to start? Do you want questions? Do you want to go over your plan? We have a lot of questions.
Sure. Well, maybe I'll just, so for those of you that don't know, I'm Fred Tilly and I am the MLA for Northside Westmount, which is Alder Point, Florence, parts of Brador, Sydney Mines, North Sydney, Westmount, parts of Coxie, Point Edward. So that sort of urban / rural area. So I have both former county and municipal pieces. So everybody knows Diane, I'm sure.
Yes, well, thank you for the invitation to come to council. And of course, you're aware of the area that I cover, the river Victoria Lakes that goes from Sicily to Cove. And they're in between to Middle River, Iona, so it's basically right around the lake. And so our communication should be, we should try to keep our communications together as much as possible because it does encompass a large part of my area. And I do try to reach out to everyone. I know I've in the past got a list of all your priorities for the roads as well, specifically for the roads. So we need to talk about other projects as well. But I did pass it on and both of you can talk today on there are issues with that we may bring up instead. And the community introducing to Fred himself. And the staff is here to answer some questions along with it. And so we'll continue.
Yeah, so thank you for the invitation. The proactive way, this is great when you actually wanted me to discuss issues before it becomes a major fight. And I appreciate the discussion of, all of you here today. And I certainly want to thank the department for coming here today to what I envisioned was a quick overview of what we've done in the area and what's coming. And then just we want to leave it open to you for your questions, because I know you have a frame of time for us to be here. So, and I apologize for being late. We get tied up. You raced me here. Diane and I were in a previous meeting yeah, so we're here now. With you guys.
All right, so I guess I'm next. I know pretty well council here. We met, maybe a month ago or so, early or late winter, just kind of going over some planned work. So for Victoria County, we have approximately just slightly over 700 kilometers of road system. And it's pretty well evenly split down the middle, gravel and asphalt surface. So little over 350 kilometers in each category there, and approximately around 225 bridges, I believe, in total. I can run through some things, or do you want me to introduce Paul? I do have a list of all our capital work that's planned for this coming season. All our RIM program, list of the roads that are receiving work there also. And then we have our Eastern District Planning priority list, which identifies future work beyond this year. So some of it's got a 5-year look ahead, some of it's only a year look ahead, depending on the category of the work proposed. So
Maybe we have a limited amount of time, so maybe we have your 5-year project list here. So maybe we can go to council and get them to ask their questions. And we'll go from there. So who wants to start?
So I'm
Okay.
with Paul, District Director, Eastern District. I was here one time before, I think maybe it's about a year ago, or it's last year or the year before, but happy to be here, and it's great to get your input and some questions if you have, and hopefully we can either answer them or take the questions back and try to find some answers. And Steve's got a lot of details on what's happening in the area. It's a hands-on.
Start with Councillor Bourne there.
Thank you so much for being here today. I definitely appreciate it. And I have more of a little statement to read, just because I'm better that way than trying to share it. I already shared my territory and the different areas within District 4. And I just really wanted to share that from what I'm hearing from our district and from the residents. Of course, the two major things are access to healthcare service and road conditions. They tend to be the two major things that our residents are chatting with us about. Both are actually out of the scope of Victoria County, of the municipality, but we can advocate for it. And I think that's probably why we're here today. The world famous Cabot Trail runs through District 4. We welcome people from around the world to our island and are proud to showcase our scenic and most beautiful views along the Cabot Trail. Our economy thrives on tourism and local artisans, to restaurants, to accommodations, to hiking on trails. Everyone needs to be using their own transportation. We recognize the positive economic impact and the millions of dollars of revenues that come with tourism. However, we must also recognize that we need our roads to be in better serviced and repair. Although tourism creates millions of dollars, with it comes extensive use of our roads infrastructure that is it's just not keeping up. Residents are also being left with roads that are dangerous to drive on. I hope you can consider if it is a possibility to increase the budget in Victoria County so it better aligns with tourism and the local needs. And the other point that I have, because I know there's a huge list of what the concerns are within the county, is communication. Can you share what other municipalities do to support and be in the loop of major road concerns that are developing? We seem to be reactive, and because we are the first contact for residents, they do reach out to us first. So is there a communication piece that exists in other municipalities that we can implement here? In some cases, we are reporting repeated concerns. Is there a time frame for standard that is used to measure when concerns get reported and when they can be resolved?
I guess the first thing that I'll jump in a little bit there. So we encourage council and all residents to raise any, road concerns to our Operation Contact Center, the OCC. It's an 800 number. The contact center is located in Cape Breton. It's located in Sydney. It's local people, professional operators that can assist clients with most needs that may come in. It could be something related to a permit or assist somebody with a damage claim or whatever that, but anyway, road concerns come through there. That information is filtered out into the field, assigned to the appropriate level within the department for response. And it's a great tool for us to assist us in tracking things such as what is the most hot topic, what's the most calls we get. It could be grading, snow removal. So it helps us kind of plan our work, and it identifies everything right down to the alders at the end of somebody's driveway. So to me, that would be the best way. As I said in the past, with the municipal councillors in the room, I think I communicate with everybody here on a regular basis. My email is always open. I normally respond within a 24-hour period when I get the emails. It's the same goes with the MLA. I can get 50, 60 emails a day, and 20 or 30 of them might be from county council. And then I still have half of Inverness County Council to deal with over there too. So that would be my, my best recommendation. If you're having issues with anything at all, don't hesitate to reach out to me directly, because I will get back to you. It may take me a few days, but I always had an open door policy. So.
And with the OCC, any call that comes in, there's a ticket that's generated with a number and it's tracked on our spreadsheet. So that'll get right to the supervisor level, and they have a responsibility to take a look at it every day, I guess. And they go out, see what's there, respond, and then they fill out or return phone calls. Yeah. So it's easy to track, so it doesn't get lost in space, I guess. Yeah.
And it's an ongoing thing with supervisors. Like, I'm constantly, prompting them to make sure you go in, you review, you close your tickets. It's very important when somebody calls with a concern or a complaint. They just want to hear back from somebody, and if it goes to crickets and they don't hear anything back, things do get elevated upper management, and they will. But to me, it should be the first contact is the supervisor reaching out to the clients with a phone call or a site visit, and they try to explain to the client, maybe it's a program we have to put forward for future work, or maybe it's something they can fix immediately. I think that's key in having a good maintenance operation myself. That part of it.
And I just want to add to the communication side of that. So if you're emailing, so I know CAO had sent a letter to us. So when that goes through our email system, there's a person in the department that I don't see it. So if there's something that you need me to see really urgently or soon, send it to my I'll give you my personal email, because it flows through our system. It flows through the Public Works Minister at publicworksminister@novascotia.ca. It was broken. What we found out was it wasn't automatically generating we've received your email. So some folks said, well, they're not responding to me. But what happens, it goes through there, then it takes a day or two there's a lot of emails that come through there, and they get filtered, and they might get sent down to Steve, or they might get sent to Paul and then, so they'll research it and come back. So it's not that we're ignoring it, it's that we're actually sending it to the right staff to try and find. But if I don't see those, so I apologize for missing that one.
No, that's great. And I will use that sparingly.
Yeah, yes, I get lots of those too.
Yeah, with everybody.
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully it's not on the website. But I just want to address Councillor Bourne's specific piece around the Cabot Trail. So everybody is aware that it's the 100th anniversary in 2032, I believe. So there's a significant amount of road work planned for the Cabot Trail area, and you know, it's in the 100 million range over the next number of years. So we're aware that that's you know, it's the gem of tourism in Cape Breton. While I'm just chatting about the Cabot Trail, we're also working on a project around off-highway vehicles and trying to open that up a little bit for tourism. So the off-highway vehicles economic impact on Nova Scotia is over 400 million a year in purchase and sales and service and in tourism. So those are some of the things that we're working on from a big ticket item, but the Cabot Trail is absolutely on our agenda.
Next. Deputy Warden.
Okay, thank you. MLA Timmins have my issues with my district. I'm just we'll talk in general, as Councilor Bourne say. Steve make a magnificent job, try to accommodate everybody. I know it's about budget all the time, and it's always about budget. So I did it with Councilor Bourne about if increase the budget, but that is anyway. So I have just 4 comments. It's about public works, like the training to the public work workers when they try to do with quality, the job will last better. So I just I'd advocate for if they couldn't have a more training, the workers, because sometimes they patch and there's not even patch. So it's all, and the next time they have to call them again. So I think that type of quality and be proud of the job. I think maybe the province could be invest a little bit more in, you know, in the workers to have that proud of work. The painting lines quality is terrible. Do you paint the lines and then by winter time they're gone? A lot of us, we travel to Sydney, North Sydney 4 times a week with children, no lines. You don't know, you have to figure out where is the line and is the line. You can see the numbers of accidents could be happening in the highway. So I don't know if you guys have to, you know, go more to the product of what you're buying. I don't know, it is possible for better painting. Like we live in Canada and I know we have the winter and the salt, and so have to be something that we couldn't do better about that, because the security of children's mothers, people go to work to North Sydney, so it's very important. So the another thing is as well, the Highway 105 to Sydney is terrible. Like we patch, Just Kelly was paid 2 years ago, and then we start when one tiny hole, and you see that is going to come back, and until it's bigger, they fix it. Why don't they fix it before it got too big, right? So that's kind of the proactive situations. Maybe the province will be look after a little more. Is and the same, the quality of the payment is. I know you guys have their expertise in that, but it's have to be something better to put in our roads, because we spend a lot of money. You guys spend a lot of money and years of paying some roads, and after that, in a year, they have to pay again. So it's just a constructive criticism I'm asking, to just look after that. So invest in your workers, invest in have a quality for be proud of working highways and have that, that pride that we looking for have better quality. But my issues there in with you, Diane and Steve, but I just want to advocate about just in general that that issue. Thank you.
There's a lot to unpack in that. But I will talk a little bit about, and I'm sure you guys will have more information on this than I do, but when you talk about the actual paint on the lines, that's an issue nationally. So that's governed through the federal transportation in the product that we're allowed to use for. So I can tell you that nationally, there are meetings where all the transportation, in our case, Public Works, provincial ministers meet federally with the federal minister, and also the deputy ministers and staff would meet across the country.
Mm-hmm.
And that is an issue that's brought up constantly. You can imagine the frustration that our team
Oh, I bet.
has when we go out and, we lay down these beautiful
Lines.
lines and everything is great. And then a few months later, through salt and wind and rain and all snow and all these things and traffic.
Yeah.
Right. It is a frustrating thing for sure. So that is something that's in discussion and working on. As far as I can't speak to I've only been minister 5 months.
Yeah.
I can't speak to the training side, but I know our team works very hard, second to none. And I do know that at the regional level, budgets have to be improved. And so from a central standpoint, we're working on all of those things, putting things together to try and improve. But there are a set of maintenance standards that we follow for the most part to do our best to keep the roads. The 125 highway, I'm not sure if you were referencing the 105 Trans-Canada.
Yeah, the Trans-Canada. Okay.
So I don't have information on that, but the 125 highway with the rutting system, the ruts that are in the road, we're going to be dealing with 10 kilometers of that. As you can imagine, but as far as budgets allow, 10 kilometers is a big piece of work.
Funny.
So, and just to follow up on how you're doing it, that's the right way, because the way we prioritize roads would be through the local MLA. Would meet with, and I'm sure you guys meet as well, but they would meet with Steve, list their priorities, and you know what, 9 times out of 10, I'm sure the MLA's priorities are also Steve's priorities, because they travel the roads daily and they know issues. And then it goes from there to the next level, and we come up with a 5-year plan. And generally, we try and do worse first.
Yeah, no, thank you. And it's just with that is I hear about why, and so these answers we can tell them that you look at. I understand you just start in 5 months, and good luck, and hopefully you can help us more than that. That will be great. Thank you.
To add to just on quality work, I know in our capital programs, like we do use the contractors themselves that do the work. There's a quality control factor there. So they have to control their quality as they're making the asphalt, and they do their own testing. And then the department also, for all our paving projects, we actually set a lab up in our yard in the deck where they take samples of the asphalt daily and they're tested in the lab. And when there's failures, and it has occurred down in South Haven, we milled out half a kilometer of brand new asphalt because it was identified during the testing phase that asphalt failed. And on Kelly's Mountain, we actually had to go back before the warranty period was over and have the contractor repair those. After the warranty, these small little holes start appearing. So, I mean, we do have these, we do have controls in place.
I understand, yeah.
And And when it comes to our guys, I guess the local guys, we do have the maintenance standards we strive to meet. It can be challenging. And I'm not making excuses for the local guys, but it's like we're filling potholes in the winter. It's like cold patch. We try multiple different products, knowing that we're putting stuff in a hole, and next week, if it rains and snows and freezes and thaws, we're gonna be back there the week after filling the same hole, and
Yeah.
I see that, and it's just like,
Yeah.
oh, what a waste of time. But if we don't put that only product available to us in the winter in
Yeah.
the hole, we get claims and we get damage to vehicles, and there's a whole, so we strive to try to do some temporary stuff.
No, but don't get me wrong about the staff. No, it's just as a province, as a public works, as a province, we need to give the support to you guys and the knowledge to how to do the jobs.
Yeah.
Because they will do it how they know, right? Or how it was teach. But if there's another techniques, I know that maybe the province have to invest in that.
Yeah.
To give it to you the tools to do a better.
Yeah.
I'm not saying about the guys in,
No.
doing better work. Okay, let's just clarify.
Do warranty, yeah. We also do peer reviews ahead of time, so any, say, 100 series projects, our engineering team goes out, they do testing on the road, strength testing, and they recommend what treatments, are best for that section of road, and just to ensure that we're putting enough asphalt down and it's gonna last, 15 years or 20 years or whatever it's supposed to. So we do a lot of pre-engineering on projects as well.
Councilor Patterson?
Thank you, Warden. Welcome, Fred. I'm a bit of a historic fan, I guess, and I thought that you were the first Public Works, Transportation, Highways. The names have changed over the year. Minister from Cape Breton since maybe Dr. Tom McCall. But I found out later Dr. Tom McCall was never Minister of Highways. So I don't know if you've done the history, Fred, but I think you're one of the few, if not the first, from Cape Breton to be Minister of Transportation, which I hope will bode well for Cape Breton Island. Anyway, just on the Deputy Warden's point about quality of work, and I'm just going to talk about one thing here, the New Campbellton Road. I've received a number of complaints about it. And the complaints extended to us because we didn't feel we could collect garbage on it for 3 weeks at least, Leanne, maybe 4, because of the condition of the road. So they weren't getting that service. No mail. They weren't getting mail because the mail truck wouldn't go down. And now I heard this story and I haven't verified it 100%. A 93-year-old widow and her son ran out of oil. And luckily it wasn't that cold. So to me, if that's not an emergency situation, I don't know what is. They're not getting garbage collected. They're not getting mail, and oil trucks won't go down. So I would like, Fred, if you could, and maybe with Diane's urging, see if you could get some emergency funding for the New Campbellton Road. Because these people are very tolerant. I don't know if you know anybody from New Campbellton. Former MLA Bain does. They're the kindest, nicest people in the world. And they are really not very happy with the condition of the road right now. And I was told, and I think this is out there too, the quality of work that the Deputy Warden mentioned when the road was done 4 or 5 years ago, Steve, I believe it was under the gravel road program, part of the New Campbellton Road, and another section was done recently.
Last year.
Yeah, but I was told that the original part, the gravel on it was substandard. And that's the whole issue now. They didn't put good gravel on at the beginning. So now the gravel, every time it rains, there's more. If you get a chance, but you should take a drive down. I haven't been down lately, but the washboarding along the stretch below the mountain, you cannot drive at any speed at all, or you'll wreck your car. So I just want to get that out there. And again, maybe Diane, if you could see if there's anything we could possibly do. I know you've heard the same from the same people, and I think it's an emergency situation for them. Thank you.
Yeah, I can comment about that. So New Campbellton, Camden Road's approximately 12 kilometers long, Fraser, and I've been there a long time, since
Mhm.
'94 as the operations supervisor for that area and specifically that road, so I know it very well.
Mhm.
And I know many of the residents down there, and working with past MLAs and new MLAs, we recognize it's a priority for the area. I'm going to estimate, last year we did close to 5.5 kilometers down there. So we would have spent a little over $1 million on the bottom end of that road. All new culverts, ditching, brush cutting, and about 7 years ago, give or take a year, I may be wrong with the year, we did the same thing with the first portion. So the full 12 kilometers. The first job, right or wrong, I think there was some funding come out late in the season. It was a fall call for tender. And, you know, there was, not the urgency, but the willingness was to spend this additional funding, and that road was selected for that work. Ditch pipes and everything like that. The issue with the gravel, like, we do have project engineers as oversights. They're supposed to be monitoring quality assurance on the gravel gradation, the quality and all that stuff. So I don't have the information there, but it does not seem to stand up, I can tell you, as well as the gravel that was put on last year from a different quarry. Gravels can be challenging. You know, you get it from one source and it works great. Even the source that it came from passes all the tests, but it doesn't perform like the other quarry. That's very common with gravels, unfortunately. They meet the standard.
Yeah, a lot of times they'll meet the standard, but then, you know, there's not quite enough. If they're low in fines, even though they meet,
Or too
you know,
much.
you tend to notice it after maybe a few weeks or a longer period of time. So it doesn't always show up right away when you put the gravel down. There's a big problem.
So saying all that, talking to Diane here recently, back a couple of months ago, we were in our planning stage with priorities for upcoming work. And we did put the New Hamilton Road on the priority list. Unfortunately, it's for next year's program because this year's program has been committed last year. So the work we're doing this year, we discussed last year. So we have 6.5 kilometers of the New Hamilton Road identified, and the program is going to be more about surface treatment, gravel, not so much new culverts and things like that, because they were put in 5-6 years ago. The focus will be on the surface, the gravel that's creating the pothole issues. There may be a little bit of drainage work touching up here and there between there, but it is committed for next year. I can tell you that. So, and that work would be somewhere in another, probably slightly under $1 million to gravel that.
Yeah. Thank you, Stephen. I appreciate all the work you've done on this.
And we
Okay.
tried, sorry, we had the grader down there last couple of days, doing our best.
I-
We were
I-
plowing it one day and trying to grade it the next day, so
Might
we
I
were
suggest-
trying.
I don't know,
We were
remember the
trying.
old days when there used to be little garages on the side of the road where the operators would have the grader close to them, right?
Yeah.
Maybe you should build one at the New Hamilton Road there and
Yeah.
put the grader in there
But-
permanently. Anyway, I appreciate your work on this, Steve, and I understand the constraints. But I don't know if the residents are gonna put up with another year because, like I said, they're not the kind of people that are rowdy and blah, blah, blah. But they're not very happy
So-
right
So
now.
what I see, if there is no additional funding, as we've already committed to next season, we're gonna have to step up a little bit with more often grading. It's not a big expense, you know, you can get 5 kilometers of grading done for $1,000 for the
Mhm.
day. So if we have to grade it a couple of two, three
Please, okay.
times. The priorities already been spoken to with the supervisor about this concern, this issue, this section of road. And it's usually the first road done. The grader's just across the Seal Island Bridge, not far away. He has other roads to do, but we can prioritize that a little extra maintenance perspective on it during the summer to get us through the next year, right? If that's what's necessary.
Thank you, Steve. And I guess that what you just said gives some hope anyway, that,
Yeah.
you know, it's on the radar.
Yeah.
And if you commit the additional grading,
Yeah.
you know, that may
Yeah,
alleviate the
sometimes you don't have
situation.
to grade the whole road, right?
No, that's true.
Why don't it be
Exactly.
1 or 2 kilometers?
Yeah.
That's that flat area that's
Yeah.
giving us all the trouble. If the rest is staying good,
It's just
Just
great.
wouldn't touch up those 2 kilometers or
Yeah.
whatever's necessary,
Yeah.
right? So that's an easy one.
Good.
Low hanging fruit, I think.
Yeah. Thank you, Steve. Thank you.
Counselor Donovan?
Mine should be fairly easy, I think.
$10 million a pay.
Yes, sold. I know I had brought it up before. I just want to remind you or ask the question again. Signage, specifically on this side of Smoky. I believe I spoke to you before about that, Steve,
Yep,
where there's an
you did.
issue with people
Yep.
parking on the side of the road to take in the sights, but they don't park on the side of the road where the look-off is.
Yep.
Because they don't know it's there.
Yep.
So signage to tell people where that is.
Tim, I should have wrote back to you because you did send that through to me. I have checked with traffic engineering in Halifax. And I do have permission to erect look-off signage on Smoky.
Oh, perfect.
It's supposed to be part of this tourist attraction signage. There's these different programs. We have certain signs. So we've identified the signs. I believe they've been ordered, but let me check on that, and they should be up early this spring. They'll be going about 300 meters in advance of the look-off, so there's adequate notice that there's a look-off ahead.
Mhm.
And then we do have the left turning lanes on the mountain now, so they will be up here shortly this spring.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Let's see what else. Oh, road classifications. I just want to understand what they are because I get a lot of phone calls.
Yeah.
What are the different classifications of roads?
Okay. So we'll start, I guess, at the top classification road is what we call our 100 series highway, and that's basically like a Trans-Canada highway, but you'll often see Highway 105,
Mhm.
Highway 101, 103. That's the larger main highway, we'll say, right? Then we get into artillery roads or collector roads, and they're trunks and routes. So trunk 30 is the Cabot Trail, for example. A route highway would be like Route 223, Route 205. So, and then below that, we're into local paved roads. They're just basically local paved. And that would be Big Bedeck or, the west side Middle River, for example, any one of those. And then when we get down into the gravel roads, there's a lettering system there, in that it could be an I-class gravel road, can be a H-class. They have different lettering. It's basically based on the cross-section of the road.
Mhm.
So depending on the width of the road, and I can send you this information, I would be like the most lowest class road we got, gravel. Just over a 20-foot top, one of those narrow little gravel roads we
Yeah.
own. And then if you go up to the H class, it's got like, more like closer to a 30-foot top on it, and it's a little wider, like New Campbellton is probably that class of road, a little wider, more heavier travel. And then, of course, we got the famous K-class road, which means abandoned, unmaintained. And we have quite a few kilometers of that in the county, which we work with their tourist guy over there developing trails on.
Because a lot of the questions that I'm getting.
Yeah.
Are people that live on private roads or
Yeah.
the lower class gravel
Yeah.
roads. The question I've gotten most often recently is what do we have to do to have that listed as a road that can be maintained?
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Well, there's a clear policy. So since 96, I'm going to say 1996, with the municipal service agreement with the municipalities. The agreement at that time was any new roads, private roads that want to become public, it's to go through the municipality. So they would have to make application to the municipality, and it's up to the municipal discretion of whether or not, they want to consider it or they're taking on the public, but the department's not adding any new roads. So it would be a municipal issue.
And we have a number of courtesy roads, Tim, I guess we'll call them.
I know one of them is
Yeah, there's a few of them.
Long Tom Road.
And we plow them, they've been doing it since long before my time. It's probably a political decision made a long, long time ago. So we still plow those roads, and we have a handful, there's a bunch around the province like that. The issue that we run into is the residents that live on it don't want to spend any money on it, even when it comes to summertime.
Mhm.
And now we're in a position like it's almost unsafe to go and plow them because they're not doing the massive puddles and.
Well, the
puddle
three,
water And but
there's-
they expect us to do miracles with the plow and so if those residents could get together, spend a little money on the private courtesy road, that would make things. I don't want to say, no, we're not going in anymore.
well, the comment I've heard is that in the wintertime, it's not so bad because it fills with water and freezes.
Yeah.
So if the potholes aren't there anymore because they're full of ice.
Yes.
Yeah, there's three roads in particular that I hear most about. Long Tom's, Barbara's Lane, which is off Long
Yeah.
Tom's, and Rocky Point.
Rocky Point's ours.
Yes,
And
but
we've been making some progress on the road over the years. I've been honest, very flat.
I drove it over.
Drainage.
I drove over it 2 days
Yeah,
ago.
we did brush cutting and ditching and gravel patching in there,
It's-
but
It's,
might be a good candidate for gravel capital work to bring it up.
yeah, it's right now it's in pretty rough condition.
Yeah.
Like I said, I drove over it 2 days ago and you
Okay.
can charge admission at the road
Okay,
because it was a ride.
all right. Okay.
And the only other thing on my list of, that people brought to my attention and actually didn't have to because I drove over it as well. Roper's Bridge.
Yeah, we have a plan for that also. We've already been talking to our bridge engineer. We recognize the asphalt surface on us. It's deteriorating this spring, leading up to that. Very lively bridge. It's a Bailey bridge. There's a lot
Yes.
of movement in it, so which creates, cracks in the asphalt and then eventually. So we have a plan to issue a tender this year for resurfacing that bridge. So that will take place this season. And then just to let you know, Roper's Bridge is on our capital program. I'm going to say 27, 28 for a full replacement. So that was the bridge that was burnt many years ago.
Yes.
Burned to the ground. So we put a temporary bridge in there. And I had made a note here. 28, 29, it's on the books for replacement. Year 28, 29. So by repaving it, we should get the next 3 years out of it before the new bridge is built. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think I mean, there are some areas that require some ditching pretty bad.
Yeah. So send in, Tim.
Yeah.
Anyone of us there, just send them in. Those smaller requests, we'll certainly look into them.
Okay. Thank you.
Slahanick?
I'm in District 8, so I'm towards Capstick and Eco. So I'm sure everyone's aware of the situation on the road. Capstick has been brought up several times where the guardrails are ready to fall off in certain spots, and the road to Miko, of course, is, I know it's Inverness County, but we do plow it and we do look after it. The residents are really concerned with that road up there, especially with the announcement of the Seawall Trail. The government gave lots of funding for the Seawall Trail, but how do you expect tourists to drive on them roads? Like, it's an ongoing issue. They're going to start a petition and hopefully bring it to the province as well, because I don't think anything was put in the 5-year plan on for Miko for gravel roads or for any work being done in Capstick, which a resident has been lobbying for many years now, Melvin Capstick. So I wanted to make you guys aware of the potential needs, because we do have school buses that drive on that road. The residents in Miko are getting really, as Fraser said, like his residents in Kmart, they're really getting frustrated with, with the road could be all icy. It's, emergency, like if something happens up there, like to get, an ambulance up there or anything, it's really a difficult thing to do with the roads being so deteriorated. But as, there's other roads too, like out Big Interval is really bad. Treacherous driving out that way until you get to the park, then it's beautiful, of course. But we would like to see something maybe in the plans of getting, some work done out that way also. But Courtney's road sign is down, but I'll send you a message on that later on. But thank you so much for your time. It's greatly appreciated to hear like someone from the province to come and hear our complaints about our local roads.
And I just wanted to touch base on the petition thing. Take it from someone who's learned the hard way. Before you get that started, work with MLA Timmins to get the right wording. Because I had a beautiful petition and I got to the house with it and they wouldn't table it because I didn't have the right wording. So, great.
Ready to start and collect the names very shortly and it'll be going in the fall, so.
So Wanda, just real quick, I won't take too much time. Like, we're aware of the Meat Cove Road. I did a little bit of looking and we did some emergency repairs in Capstick last year with their maintenance funds. On that area, we've identified there's like 6 kilometers of pavement from Bay St. Lawrence into the gravel, beginning of the gravel. There's another 5.8 kilometers to the gravel to the Inverness Canley line. There's about another 1.5 kilometers of gravel. So it's total about 7.25 kilometers of gravel and 6 kilometers of pavement that needs work there. So I'll have to work with Paul on the capital program, see if we can get it fit in there somehow. Yearly, we do throw a little bit of maintenance money at it, a little bit of gravel patch and some ditching. It was capital gravel, built around the same time as New Campbellton. It was a fall job. It was late in the season. We did gravel. We did pave the hills in there. There was a bunch of work done on guardrail repairs in there. And there was a whole bunch of work in 2010, but that was all storm related work. So not really like fixing bridges, replacing bridges and stuff, but that was all related to the storm. So we're aware of the concerns and we're just going to have to get it onto the capital program and get it to the top of the list somehow. So yeah, like it's the first road we go to when it snows. Gets the most sand in the project for icy conditions. We have a contractor that's in there. The plow leaves and the sand trucks are right in behind and we realize it's a challenging road. I mean, there's a lot of hills and twists and turns to get into there. And we do work closely with the school board down there on a one-on-one basis with phone calls, like what's the road conditions. And so we're doing our best with, the resources down there. So
Great, thank you.
Yeah, Counselor Mathis on the floor.
A lot of my questions were answered already by other people asking them, but I just wanted to reiterate, I didn't really say District 1, Washabuck Peninsula, and then we have a little gap, and then Bucklaw and Wagner-Cook. So, but I live on Washabuck Peninsula. I noticed that the spring weight restriction signs were put up everywhere, but what I wanted to know is if the trucks are traveling in between weigh stations, how's that policed? Like, who's checking to see if they're following weight restrictions?
We have what we call VTI, the Vehicle Transport Inspection Division. So they run those scales at the causeway. You often see their silver grayish trucks. They say vehicle compliance on them. They have roof lights. They have authority to pull over any vehicle, including a regular car, that to see if it's traveling on the road unsafely. But they're mainly the police for the department on heavy truck issues. So they'll pull over, they inspect the trucks, they have portable scales, they can weigh them right on the side of the road if they have to. So, and they're a great bunch of guys. They do a great job. They work hard. I deal with them all the time. So if I have a problem area and I know somebody's sneaking in the middle of the night trying to get wood out or they're causing damage, I will tip these guys off because my supervisors can't give a ticket to the guy. Our guys are just maintenance guys, but they'll work with us anytime. We have phone numbers. We can call them. We can get them. So if there's an issue that you think there's something going on, please let me know and I will get the right people involved.
Oh, we see a lot of, because I live just down from the gypsum plant now, and there's been a lot of the big trucks. So it's just a game when we sit at the ferry, everyone's like, I don't know, that one looks like it's going to be over the weight restriction. So it's turned into a game in my district with people guessing. But I just wanted to be able to tell people they're being policed. Don't worry, they're being checked, they're being inspected. So.
Yep.
And my other thing, I had it in my district highlight, but I might as well say it when I'm here, while you guys are here. I wanted to thank MLA Tibbetts for responding to an email about an issue in my district, a road issue, after 8 PM on a Saturday evening. I just wanted to put that out there. I was very shocked by that. I was like I called the people up in that area and said, the MLA responded. This was like almost 9 o'clock and they were like, ooh, this is great. So I just wanted to thank you for that. So I'll want to put it in my district. In my area, there's a lot of gypsum. Do sinkholes and does that cause instability in areas?
It's very challenging, very, very challenging. So, and there, it is, that whole peninsula is like gypsum everywhere. So, and they're very challenging to deal with. A lot of times they'll do a geotechnical study that'll cost thousands and thousands of dollars, and they drill holes and they find out what's down underneath the subgrade and all this stuff and how deep the gypsum is. But gypsum is, the correct word is called caris, I think is the actual technical name for it. And what happens is water gets into that, it dilutes the gypsum, leaves voids in the geology. Water will find the easiest path, and then when those voids occur, then you start getting subsidence in the road. So they're very challenging. A lot of times there's not an easy solution other than to dig the area out, put a bunch of coarse material in there, and we have a number of them around the county and in Inverness County also. Very challenging.
Because that's what I've been telling people, and I hope I wasn't making stuff up, because that's exactly what I was saying. I'm like, it's gypsum everywhere, sinkholes.
Yeah,
You know, so-
highway here, like we got geotechnical coming in. We did piece down on by Big Harbor. Spent $70,000 or $80,000 just on the geotechnical study, right, by a professional engineering firm. Gave repair methods recommendations, which we followed. And 3-4 years later, I'm just starting to see a little dip down there 4 years later. And, you know, the reports say, although this is the best scientific information at this time, there is a likelihood that you will see subsidence in the future. This is kind of closing comments from the geologists, right? So, you know, we try to deal with them everywhere, Paul, I guess.
Yeah, some repairs last longer than others, but it tends to come back. And a lot of time, if we identify them and do a bit of study, you can see, we try to keep the water away from there. So if there's water sitting in the ditch, or, you know, if you can kind of line the ditch so that the water carries on and gets out of the area, I mean, that could help.
That does help.
So there's a few things we can do, and, you know, bad ones, we get geotechnical in, and then we do some drilling and we try to resolve them. You know, it takes a bit of time to do that. So, but, you know, if there's emergency work, we will get out and do that and sort of fix things.
Thank you for that. And I just wanted to say to any constituents who are watching, yes, I also did submit a list of issues from my district. If you think I'm not bringing anything up now, it's been sent in a while back. Thank you.
It a lot match what Steve has in his priority. So, I mean, the staff are aware, and they are doing.
Yeah.
Address those. And we talk about the gypsum too, like in Rosella's area, the plaster orange park, well, that's the plaster park, or I think that's the original name of it.
Yes.
That was shut down by Natural Resources because there were so many sinkholes and it was too dangerous to open the park anymore. So, you know, the Natural Resources department as well has some studies that they've done in the past in their areas, and they're aware of a lot of issues that the plaster or the gypsum has been doing over the years as well.
Also Donovan.
There was one other area that I forgot to bring up. As you're coming into down the hill toward the marina, just before you get to the ski lodge, that the right hand side on the harbor side of the road is washing away. I'm not sure if it's still the same. I didn't notice this morning, but as you're driving down, the guardrail is attached to the posts. The posts are floating.
Okay. Yeah. think we did a little bit work there maybe a couple of years ago along
Yeah,
that same
it's-
stretch, Tim. But
It's
we'll have
gonna
to-
be, it's,
Yeah,
I think it's ongoing. It's gonna be a tough spot,
coastal road.
especially now where the gut is opened up on the other side. So the harbor isn't quite so protected as it used to be.
Okay.
I think it's going to increase the amount of erosion there.
Yeah.
And at high tide, and especially if there's a weather event like rain or whatever, the bottom side of the straight stretch on the other side
Yes.
is underwater.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that's one of the ditches that I was
Okay.
talking about earlier too, but that it fills up pretty bad there.
Yeah. Is that where the brook is in the first, before you come up the clam plant side?
Mhm.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Well, look at that. I think I know the exact spot too. Yeah.
McLeod. Just one more, Council Care is not here. We have some talks with Steve for a couple of years now about a crosswalk about the school. We have Bedek Academy there, and we have Founds Drive. So the school is here and Founds Drive is here. So we have maybe 20 kids walking. It's not crosswalk. So we're trying to put a crosswalk for years now, and we're still waiting. So that is, we have, if Steve can tell you what is the status in that.
Yeah, I'll have to get back to the district's traffic supervisor. I've met there multiple times, school board and traffic supervisor. We crosswalk requests come in from the municipality, which it has. And it's up to district traffic supervisor to review the request and determine whether the crosswalk is warranted. Yeah, I know you've asked before. I'll have to reach back to the community to see where it's at.
Yeah.
It's been.
Because we allocate money as well for a sidewalk, whatever, right? Because first was maybe a couple kids, but we have now 20 kids. If you go at 8:30, there's kids in a mini bikes driving and just going to work to school there. So that is just a safety, and is between that, if Diane can just drive you and you see how they walk and to the Bedek. It's not going to go anywhere. The school is going to stay there, and people is moving, and it's just a safety for the children. So we don't need just a crosswalk.
Just, it's by the school.
Yes.
Almost,
Would
yeah.
that require traffic safety?
Yeah, I was gonna say,
They pushed the two crosswalks out beyond the school. and that- this
Yeah.
running site, both crosswalks for the school are outside the school zone limit. The reason for that is if they had one in the middle, they need a crossing guard, and there'd be somebody that would pay for that. So they were pushed out many years ago to the edge of the school boundary.
yeah, so it's easier if you have a crossing guard. So if it's within the school zone, it's easier to get a crosswalk approved if you commit to having a crosswalk guard there. So if it's not within that area and there's not enough traffic, like pedestrian traffic, or if it's mid-block, they may not be warranted there. So the requests we should consider is, within that school zone and see if there's a location
There is a crosswalk there now. And we're just looking at, is there options to improve it? And part of the issue was, there's no connectivity with existing crosswalks or sidewalks. So there's no sidewalks there coming down Founds Drive. And there's a paved shoulder on Route 205, but normally with crosswalks, you want connectivity or a refuge for the pedestrians to be able to wait on the side of the road in a safe, dedicated area. Right now, they're just standing on the side of the road, so road users don't see the crosswalk signs or the crosswalk markings. It's not a perfect ideal location, I guess, but I'm not the reviewer. That's some of the comments.
We'll bring that back to their
The answers, yeah.
Yeah, they have the background. We're talking this around 3-4 years now. So yeah, so it's about safety. The children. It's not about traffic, but it's going to be a traffic for sure. But we're talking about the traffic. If you want numbers, it's going to be between 8:30 or 9 in the morning, or 3 o'clock, or 2:50, 2:45 to 3:30. That is the traffic that we're talking about. Yeah, I know, but
Park this summer school there counting all pedestrians.
Yeah,
data went into traffic people.
yeah.
Just haven't got my answer back.
Oh, I know. It's just the answer waiting for a long time. Thanks.
CAO?
Thank you. Yeah, so I just have one thing. I just sort of want to reiterate what District Warden McLeod said about if you're rebuilding or replacing. I know we had a comment a few years ago, I think it was during COVID, but build back better. And I'm assuming your department, and I think I've heard some of it already, but you look at different alternatives, and maybe the cheapest way to do it isn't the best way to do it. Do you look at different alternatives to things and have studies with recommendations and stuff like that, just in relation to, is this the right size culvert, or is this the right patch to pave it with cold patch rather than something else? So I'm assuming that you guys have that stuff.
We have an engineering specialized basically in asphalt and treatments for roads, mostly our paved projects. So we have calling a radar vehicle which collects information from the road each year. So it travels the roads, 100 series each year, trunks limits every second one, and you could look at other ones as well. So it'll do strength testing. It'll check out the condition of the road. We look at video to see if it's cracking and what condition the road is in. And from there, our engineering staff, who, they look at the best treatment and they make a recommendation. So, we want to pulverize the road and put 2 lifts of asphalt. And, so they'll give us treatment that they think is the best. Sometimes they may look at alternate treatment depending on, the situation. So they usually give a couple of examples. And, we tend to, pick something that's going to last. We want the projects to, last for the long term. So we do a lot of in-depth research on what we do, and we do get input from our engineering staff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Other projects, right?
And as far as Leanne, as far as culverts and things, I could tell you, now with the regulatory bodies, fisheries, environment, we have to follow stringent water course alteration regulations. I can give you an example. It's not in this county, but we had a culvert failure in Nauvoo just a week ago that we're working on today as emergency repair. It was a 3-foot diameter culvert. Project engineer did the design flow calculations. It's now a 5-foot diameter culvert, right? So the cost of the pipe itself is doubled.
Right.
And then it all goes along with fish habitat too, whether it's baffles. So our design work and new Middle River Bridge being started out in Middle River, it's a massive span of bridge as opposed to that tiny little bridge that was there that got washed away, right? So we're constantly looking at that stuff.
Okay, great. Because we have lots of examples of that too, where the storms aren't the same as they used to be.
100-year storm is every 5 years.
Exactly.
Just one thing I want to add to that, over time, I think you're going to see the technology grow, the sensors in roads and these things as we come down the line. So rest assured that the department is staying on top of new and emerging technologies. It's always about building a better mousetrap, right? So to get to the level. So we look at, for example, the 125. We don't want to fix that and 2 years from now be in the same situation that we're in the last time it was fixed.
Great.
So all of this, the science around aggregates and the mix and the asphalt, all these things are all being.
Great, thank you. And so that was my real question was, we've been receiving a lot of comments in relation to the look-offs along St. Anne's, Smoky, and the garbage that has been dumped over the sides. So we're wondering what your stance is on that. I know that we are not equipped to handle that. So
I've been dealing with this issue, especially on Kelly's map for the last year and a half. And I've been recently working with Diane on this same issue, and Councillor Bourne has raised it with me too. It's a problem. I've been to site a number of times. real quick on the First Nations perspective side of things, they find it's a sacred place to identify the litter or garbage. We've done some low hanging fruit stuff there last year. We try to paint graffiti on the guardrails with, aluminum paint to cover that up. We did do a litter pickup at both look-offs to a certain point over the guardrail to where it became unsafe. So my perspective is how to get that out of there. She needs somebody that can be half billy goat and half mountain climber and be tied off and go over the guardrail and somehow get that garbage to the bottom where you may have to get a basket or a crane to haul it out of there. That's what I envision. So we're aware of that. We're working with executive and head office. I've raised the concern. So I've actually asked the First Nations community, would they have a Aboriginal company or business that may be interested that the department could support, but unfortunately that they didn't have any recommendations. So it is a concern. Short term, we're putting up some no littering signs that we had there that somehow went missing. So, but we're trying to come up with a solution in the end. 100% aware of it, and it's disgraceful. There's washer machines, there's couches, there's fresh roofing shingles. We're not talking litter, we're talking heavy garbage dumping. We talked about video cameras. We talked about, then who's going to police it. But we're looking at every option out there but we haven't really decided yet how we're going to proceed with the cleanup.
I just want to add to that too. So it's not just in Victoria County. It's across, mainly across Cape Breton. I noticed a significant increase in litter on the highways. So I think there's a multifaceted approach to this. One has to be educating our citizens that, nature is not your garbage can. We've had groups in CBRM spend a full weekend to clean a section, of highway and just get so discouraged because they come back 4 days later and the Tim Hortons cups and everything are everywhere. That's one thing. So litter is one thing, but the heavy garbage. So Diane and I just actually, before this meeting, we were meeting with CBRM. And so from my understanding, they're starting a heavy garbage in at the end of April. But prior to that, so they've opened all of their facilities for 6 Saturdays in a row in the local areas where you can dump things. I suspect anyone that's dumping over the look-off on Kelly's Mountain is not going to go there, whether it's open 7 days a week. So it's one of those. It's a tough. So resource-wise, we have highways and then we have heavy garbage on the side of the road. So when we're doing that, it means we're not doing other things. So it's a tough balancing act for sure.
So if we can work together on that, that would be great.
That'd be
Can I just comment in that? I know I am agree there's education based. Some people are trying to get in the schools to have that education for the children, but sometimes the red tape in the school boards. So I wonder if the province could be, advocating about that with the school boards to let the people come in and have that education with the children. Because we, as adults, we driving with, if our children see us doing that, they will come out and say, don't do it. And maybe some education for the parent. But I believe it starts with the children. So I please, if they couldn't have a province, can sort it out with the school boards to help, to do the education.
So we heard the exact same thing at CBRM with regards to. Sorry, Chair, I'm jumping. Yeah. So you're absolutely right. So we committed to talking to the minister about that, because when you can impression on the children that this trash hurts the bunnies and the other animals, it may have that impact on the parents, right? So we're going to work on that.
Counselor Bourne.
Thank you for bringing that topic up, and it's something that Steve and I have talked about many times with the garbage. So I'm not going to highlight that. The only thing in my area, and I've sent my request in with all the information, and Diane and Steve have been fabulous with everything. The only thing new on my list is the Bedeck Bay Road, which is consistently flooding. And now there's, yeah, and now there's large pieces of pavement that have been lifting, and so that has been the most recent thing that's been a hot topic in the areas. It's very dangerous for folks to drive through that area. So I just wanted to highlight that.
Thanks, Rosella. It's on the priority list for this spring. As soon as we get some good weather, we'll be putting a new culvert in there.
Okay, for, I guess, no other ones, I'm going to have final say. We just had a meeting, presentation from Destination Cape Breton. And they stated that the Cabot Trail is the #1 priority motivator to get people to come to all of Nova Scotia. So think of that, but there's no capital project for the Cabot Trail in Victoria County in the next 5 years. Understood? That's what's on your 5-year project.
Looking at a multi-year program of 100 million. So we have identified a number, I think there's 5 or 6 sections that we've identified.
Okay.
So right now we're going to the Dingwall area, so we're kind of finishing. So there's about another $6.5 million that's going to happen this summer, and there's also the Daisy Culvert, which is going to happen. So then from there, we're looking at committing, multiple projects and try to clean up and widen all the sections that haven't been completed yet. So the next one we're looking at, well, it's kind of I guess, be Inverness County, right on the borderline. You're Lake Law.
Yeah.
So that's, that's something we're working on now to get ready and hopefully have it out maybe by the fall and then after that, we're going to go back. There's a couple sections between top of Cape Smoky and into the park boundary. Yeah, so there's 14 kilometers there. So there's 2 projects there. So that'll be next month.
And did you mention the road from Cape North, from the turnoff up Cape North, the hill there? That's totally flooding all the time. Is new culverts going in there before the?
That's at the bottom down.
Yeah, by the garage there.
Yeah.
That's right now. The water is kind of level there now. Before you put the new pavement in.
Yeah. The project engineer was made aware of that last year. Normally, when they do their estimates, like they walk the road and the survey guys are really good down the ditch looking, trying to find, because we don't have drawings that say, here's where all the culverts are. So you have to go out and physically get in the ditch, start looking, trying to find. And they were actually some there that were buried that they missed. So we're going back with some additional drainage there in that area this year. And then you got the Asby River kind of coming up. So it depends on the tidal thing, but yeah, we're aware of that one there, Jackie.
Okay. This is to you, Mr. Tilley. Nova Scotia seems to have lost its sense of pride with our shoulders, our signage, our guardrails, our pavement, our clear cutting. It all seems to be lacking. We have millions of travelers that come, to see the Cabot Trail and the rest of Nova Scotia. Some bring $1 million rigs down over the trail. I know because I camp with some of them. If some of these rigs go off on the shoulder of the road, it's major damage, and it's also a safety risk. So if we could look into more clear cutting, more shoulders, more drainage, we're starting to look a little rough. Our guardrails some of them are just hanging on by a wish and a prayer. So some of that could be looked at. We'd be greatly appreciated.
So I can speak to that. So over the last, I'm going to say 10 or 15 years, the budget on RIM stayed the same. And when this government came in 21, so I think it started in maybe 22 or 23, the RIM program was doubled from $11 million. So all we had across the province to deal with shouldering and ditching and outside of the regular base funding was 11 million. So that's been doubled to 22. The last 2 years, an additional 14 million was added into that. So for 2 years, there was $36 million put into RIM. And now we're back to the 22 million. So I would, plus with the Cabot Trail, as part of that 100 million investment between now and 2032, when the 100 years is over, you should see, as we do. So there's a couple of levels, and again, I'm still learning, but when you do a capital rebuild, part of that, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, would be the ditching, guardrails, shouldering, all of that is done at that particular time as well. And then anything else would be done through rural impact
or maintenance.
or maintenance mitigation. So I'm strong advocate for maintaining that doubling of the RIM program, and we're constantly pushing for more. But I would suggest as well, if there's any specific area that hasn't seen, you just let us know, and we'll certainly add that to our list if it's not already there. I suspect it would already be there. So
It's on the list.
so I guess when just to look at how we come up with the 5-year plan. So there's a certain allocation for 100 series. There's an allocation for roots and trunks, and there's an allocation for local, and then you get down to J class, and there's an allocation for J class, which is definitely not enough. That's one of the things we're working on. So there's 18 counties across Nova Scotia, and we do our best to allocate out to those counties, and we do it in the fairest manner that we can. Generally, that's based on the kilometers of roads that you would have in your area. So divided by, so we have 23,000 kilometers of roads in Nova Scotia, 4,149 bridges. And so what we've done is we've doubled the RIM program and doubled the gravel road program. And that's doesn't seem any signs of going away. So we're working on it, and we agree it's priority.
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed. Only one J class road in Victoria County was asked for and it was denied.
Yeah, so with J class, there was $1 million, right? So and in the last round of negotiations with municipalities, there was 10 million. And for whatever reason, the negotiations didn't flow through. So I'm optimistic that that's under renegotiation again. That J class are a little different due to amalgamation and all those things when that came about. And that's negotiated through our municipal affairs department. So, you know, Public Works, we tend to take the brunt of the yelling about J class, but when in actual fact, it's negotiated between the municipalities and municipal affairs. But I do know that we're going back out. We're also on that committee. So when we're going back out very soon to try and renegotiate J class, because we understand it's an issue, needs to be addressed.
Well, thank you all for coming. We got a lot off our chest.
Good.
And we'll be getting your email from. Thank you. I probably have it. Yes, I do. Thank you all for coming.
All right. to